If you know microbiology, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, and maybe you actually experienced the same, who knows? But this is what happened. That class gave me hell. So by the time the semester was now coming to an end, final exams, I had given up, honestly. Like at that point, I was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to pass this class. So the professor was like, don't worry, just keep putting in the work, keep studying. And I'm like, am I not studying, really? Like, which one am I doing? Is it not called studying?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Testify with Safari. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if this is actually not your first time, welcome back to you. I really appreciate that you get to come back and back again. My name is Safari, and I so much enjoy it when I get to see God at work in people's life, in my own life. And so this is the platform where you get to share those testimonies, the praise reports, the prayer requests, and everything else. And guess what? You can actually contact me at testifywithsafari@gmail.com just to share your testimony, your praise report, and your prayer request. Yes. Today's episode is going to be tailored specially for my fellow friends who are actually in the studying business, students. Especially those ones who are currently preparing for exams, for finals, for graduation, or anything else that brings upon them having to take some written or oral examination. So I just wanted to share with you an experience that I had before. So once upon a time, I had a very hard class. My first semester ever here in America. So I came in as a transfer student from Kenya, and I went to Michigan to study. And one of those courses I first took was called microbiology. If you know microbiology, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, and maybe you actually experienced the same, who knows? But this is what happened. That class gave me hell. Yes, fire on earth, like literally, seriously. Yeah. So I was very excited, very excited. I'm usually so excited, like when the semester is about to start. Oh man, I am so pumped. Like I am ready for it, ready to the T. Like literally, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to be a serious student, study every day. Yeah, there's usually that, you know, that energy, and just being ready to make it through the whole semester and then move on to the next classes. And that was it, you know. And microbiology was one of those classes where I had it 3 times per week. And mind you, the professor wanted us to have quizzes at every single class, as many other professors actually do as well. And this was just one of those scientific classes where I knew that, okay, I need it just so I can also proceed with the courses of my department, which was nutrition and dietetics. So that was quite a class to just have to go through and succeed, because it was needed. I needed to succeed that class in order to proceed. And I entered the class with so much energy, being hyped up, but unfortunately, before I knew it, the energy was dropping down because I started facing challenges upon challenges. So first of all, once we hit the road for that class, the professor was like, okay, so every single day we have to go through this chapter, study the next chapter for the next class, come in ready for the quiz. And honestly, I think the first week I didn't take it so seriously because I didn't know if they were going to jump right into it, but it seemed a little bit more serious than I was used to. So that's how very quickly the first few quizzes were just, it was a flop, yeah. I didn't really prepare myself so well for them, and they were very quick quizzes, 5-minute quizzes, and you can imagine what it feels like when, for example, you show up in class for one quiz and you actually didn't read that chapter. It usually doesn't go well. Some of the things you just cannot guess, and maybe if you guess it very well, you might get a good guess. Not that you know it, but just that it happens to be that you got to pick the right answer. But it's usually did not happen for me that way. I was not doing well for the first quizzes because I wasn't ready. But then I started getting in the flow of the class, because now I knew that I had to expect a quiz at every single class. And the other challenge that came upon myself was the fact that, okay, well, most students were also complaining about that. That was just, some of them felt like the professor was having a reputation of being very harsh and very complicated to deal with. On top of, what many students also complained about, which was the fact that the accent of the professor was also posing a huge barrier to the learning process. So honestly, I am not trying to pick on excuses here and there, but I think that was really the case during that semester, when things aren't going your way and then you try to justify the reason as to why. But when you're actually living it, it is so true. Yeah. So that's how when you start the semester, there's usually that period of grace where you can literally drop any class that you took and you felt like, okay, I'm not confident in it. I don't think this is the right thing. You can just drop it and move on, get something else and replace it. So I saw many students doing that. Mind you, it's a huge class for that. Many of them decided to drop the class for a different semester. But then I thought to myself, drop it now, really? What if I come back to it and it's the same professor? It wouldn't really make sense to drop it now. And I don't like wasting time usually. So the other option I saw students doing was to just move on to a different, university, like go take the course in a different school. And as an international student, I can tell you for a fact that I was not ready to start having to figure it out, how to figure out if your I-20 has to be somehow, all of the things that would come with it. I felt like this was just not the option for me. So I told myself very confidently, okay, let's go ahead and just get ready for it, get ready for this class. So I said, we're staying in it, we're going to put in the work and every single thing. But mind you, things didn't go as planned, it was getting harder and harder. And we had the first test for that class and I did not do well, and so I hoped to do better in the second test, and so I kept on preparing myself, getting into the second test, and as the semester went on, I felt like, wow, I was really missing out on this class, and it just looked now like one of those big stress factors of the whole semester, regardless of every other classes that I was also having to study for. So you can imagine what it feels like. So by the time the semester was now coming to an end, final exams, I had given up, honestly. Like at that point, I was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to pass this class. And mind you, it's not as if I was trying to not do my part. I tried so many things. I started joining study groups, talking with some friends who also were struggling, some doing a little bit better and everything. So we would help each other out, study. Man, I gave it more time than any other courses, even though I still had classes that were having more credits than that. But then by the end of the semester, I was like, okay, I don't even know what to do. I went to see the professor one of those days, and I just felt like, wow, I don't think he understands my situation. But mind you, this is the professor who is teaching the class, so you would suppose he understands, right? But then my mind was so much, clouded with the problems than trying to even figure out how to, So the professor was like, don't worry, just keep putting in the work, keep studying. And I'm like, am I not studying, really? Like, which one am I doing? Is it not called studying? Well, so I went into the exam feeling like, okay, this is it. Like, God, I give up. I don't see how I'm passing this class. And I actually needed a C so that I can continue with my other classes, I needed a grade that would allow me to keep moving, and I wasn't ready to take this class again. But then this is the reason as to why I am doing this video is just to let you know that sometimes you feel as though you're just at that place where there is no way out, and that is when God shows up. The professor was right. He was like, keep pushing, keep going, and it's gonna get better. So that's why I am right here to tell you that in my case, I actually did pass that class, even though I still don't understand how it happened. But one thing I know for sure is that God, who started a good work in me that time with that class, brought it to completion. And just as the word says, I am going to read to you that verse, which says, Philippians chapter 1 verses 6, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And let me tell you this, it doesn't actually depend on you. Yes, God is in the business of having to prove what he has promised, you know. So I know you care a lot about passing your classes, passing that exam. You have put in the work, this is the time to go and do it. And I just want to let you know that you can trust in that God is going to bring that to completion. Yes. Okay. And he wants you to be strong and not give up, just as it says in 2 Chronicles 15 verses 7, where it says, "As for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded." So just as God is doing his part trying to bring this to completion in your life, he wants you to be strong. Don't give up. You're working there as a team. He's like, just trust in me, do your part, which is trusting, work it, and I am going to help you make it through. So just don't give up and you will be rewarded. And the Lord wants you to go with all the confidence that you can go with. As Proverbs 3 verses 26 says, the Lord will be your confidence and he will keep your foot from being caught. And so the song that comes to my mind as I try to encourage you in this season of exams or, you know, final test, whatever you call it, or even preparation for your graduation. Yay! Congratulations! The song that comes to my mind is God will take care of you. And it goes this way. Be not dismayed, whate'er betide, God will take care of you. Beneath his wings of love abide, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day, all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you. And so as you go into that exam room, or as you prepare to sit down, write down, or even as you prepare for that oral examination, know that God is with you and he has already brought this to completion. Just trust in him, go with confidence and be still and know that he is God. Have a wonderful time. Congratulations on your accomplishments and bye-bye. Mwah.